Good morning, and welcome to another broadcast, another episode, whatever we want to call them, of Thriving Tuesday Moments of Encouragement. Hashtag Veeencouraged. Good morning, Miss Linda. It's good to see you. Good morning, Reverend Fuller. Amen. Amen. So this morning, we're going to talk about what it means to make room for happiness. Good morning, Lady Clarice. To make room for happiness, making room for happiness. Good morning, my joy. Because happiness is something we just don't get. You know, we can't just expect it to commandeer our lives. We got to make room for it. Often we are very busy rewinding that which has happened in our lives. And so we make room for our sadness. We make room for our pain. We make room for our trouble. We make room for everything that has happened to us and for us to tell our stories about that. And that is imperative. Do not get me wrong. I am not saying that we should not be making room for the things that we need to clear the cachet of our lives, because we've got to face the things that we have dealt with in order for us to be in a place where we can release those things. We've got to learn what it means to release them. Good morning, my brother. And so because we are really good at rewinding that which we have experienced that has hurt us, we're really good at that. I'm encouraging us today to begin to be as good about making room for happy, for making room for joy, for making room for something that gives us a sense of knowing that we're living for a purpose, and that is not just to work and to do and to keep trying to gather and to do all the busyness that comes with what we consider a fulfilled life. I am convinced that the people who are the most fulfilled have learned what it means to make room for happiness. Now, I'm going to be transparent with you today. I'm on that journey. I'm not there. I have made room for everything else and everybody else all of my life. I've made room for everybody's ministry, everybody's work, everybody's needs, everybody's everything, and put myself too far on the back burner, which means that I was not able to enjoy so many of the things that I could have enjoyed, even from the experiences of ministry, because I didn't make room for happiness. We got to learn how to make room for happiness. I was watching a couple of people that I know who have taken some time, just a couple of days, to go just have a blast, go have fun, go do exactly what they wanted to do for just a couple of days. I mean, just let it all go and really enjoy life and living. And I watched them with joy for them, but found myself saying, well, maybe one day. But I realized I don't make room for it. That I'm so busy doing what I think I should do that I have not necessarily made the room for the things that I may want to do. Now, for those of you who are watching who know me well, this is not your cue to start bugging me about it. It's not your cue to start trying to analyze my life. Don't do that. This is something I have to do. Me and the Lord got to figure out how that happens. But I recognize that I'm not the only one. And from the comments, I realize I'm not the only one. But it doesn't make sense to live this whole life. We've been in this pandemic situation for almost fully 2 years right now. And for many of us, it has given us a time to reflect on the things that we didn't get to do. We've watched and we've been saddened by those who have left here early in life, who didn't get a chance to do many of the things that they wanted to do. Uh, Everybody hasn't passed away from COVID, so I don't want it to seem like it's only a COVID thing. But when you start to look at the multiplicity of deaths that we have seen, heard about, the stories that have been broadcasted on television, on the internet about those and their lives. When we start to look at that, what we remember most from those pictures, from those videos, are not the times they were in the hospital or the times that they were saddened. It was the joy. People showed the things they did that gave life, that were life affirming, that were joyful. And when you look at the picture book of your life, when you go back through the video of your mind and you look at those things in your life, it is not your sad times that are going to shape why people miss you when that time comes. It's the joy. But if we don't have enough opportunity to create joyful moments, if we don't make room for happiness, if we don't make room for the happy things that make us happy. Now, what makes one of us happy doesn't make the other person happy. We can't decide that that's happiness for everyone, because it may just be happiness for you. You know, when happiness doesn't get an opportunity to take residence in your life, then all you have is what you've done, not who you are. Happiness comes in as part of your being. It is the cousin of joy. Joy comes even when you're not necessarily happy, because the joy of the Lord is our strength, and we don't lose sight of that. But happiness is a gift that God has given us. Ecclesiastes 2, and we know that Ecclesiastes is really a book about the vanity of life and all of that. But in 2:26, the writer says that God giveth wisdom and happiness, gives knowledge, wisdom, knowledge, and happiness to those who follow his direction, and that those who do not end up working and working and working and doing all that they can, because their wealth gets laid up for the righteous. It's really interesting that while we work and work and work and work and work, that if we don't enjoy any of it, guess what? It's laid up for somebody else to enjoy it at our expense. So make room for happiness. Make room in your life for things that make you laugh. I don't mean kind of chuckle. I mean belly laugh, can't breathe laugh. We've got to find those times, because sadness is always here. Trouble is always here. The travail of life is always before us. But when we make room for happiness, then in the midst of all that we're going through, there's this caveat, there's this thing, there's this side that reminds us that I've had a chance to laugh. I've had a chance to experience joy. I've had fun. I'm not talking about going out and doing a whole bunch of sinister things. I'm just talking about having fun, enjoying life, laughter, spending time, sometimes enjoying your own company, but spending time in the presence of those whom you choose to be in the presence of. And that doesn't mean, and if you're not that person, don't feel like that person doesn't love you. They love you, but the happiness comes from sometimes people who just make them laugh, that don't bring their trouble, don't bring their struggle, just make us feel the joy of life and living. So find time to make room for happiness. One of those people that made me talk about this today just jumped on this live, because I watched this person make room for happiness because they had made enough room for sadness, made enough room for the tasks of life, made enough room for the needs of everybody else. But for 2 days, 3 days, stop and just make room for happiness. I don't have anything else to say to you today. Start figuring it out while I'm figuring it out. Because I want to know that God did not put me here, leave me here, keep me here just for the mundane task of life. Not just to be available to people in ministry, not just to be available to do the things that God has gifted me with the ability to do. I'm all for that. I'm going to do it till God closes my eyes, but I'm going to intentionally make room for happiness. Because what good is living a life where all the choices you make are just because you might as well, when happiness is in your view? God bless you. Heaven smile on you. Take care of yourselves. Be safe. Make room for happiness and be encouraged.